Despite countless lessons from history, we humans have a knack for repeating our financial mistakes. We just can't resist the calls for easy money, choosing to ignore the stories of the past. The Netherlands in the 1630s was booming. Led by their dominance in international trade and protected by their powerful navy, they were the leading economic superpower of the world. Now, at this point in history, there were no fancy cars or private jets for the rich to flaunt their wealth. So if you wanted to show everyone that you were a big deal, you had tulips. You heard me right. They had flowers. Not domestic to the Netherlands, tulips were imported into the country and came in all kinds of extravagant colors. As the demand for tulips increased, even people that didn't have the financial means saw an opportunity to make some money. People would hear stories of acquaintances making unheard of profits buying and selling tulips, so they decided to invest themselves. At the peak of Tulip Mania, bulbs were selling for as much as 10 times a skilled worker's salary, and people were selling their homes and most prized possessions to buy more of this can't-lose asset. After a few years of prices skyrocketing, the demand for tulips collapsed, and so did their value, causing many aggressive investors to lose their life savings. Looking back at Tulip Mania, it is very hard not to see some similarities with cryptocurrencies today. Although as of now, there are still some cryptocurrencies that are going strong, but many have fallen flat on their face. Everyone's heard a story of someone making easy money buying and selling crypto coins, which pulls in more investors wanting a piece of the action themselves, but not fully understanding of what they're investing in.
Fortune favors the brave.
What do you think? Are you in?
You know what? I'm in.
Unlike investing in a company that makes money from operations and makes a profit, the value of tulips in crypto only exists if somebody is willing to buy it from you. As people have found out the hard way, if no one wants it, it isn't worth anything. France in 1715 was in rough shape. The high prices of war put them in a massive debt. That's when Scottish financial wizard John Law arrived with all the answers. If you are buried in debt, you need to make more money. And in John Law's case, it was literally. He solved France's debt issue by taking over the financial system and replacing gold with paper money, which he started printing like there was no tomorrow. John was also going to make everybody rich who invested in his Mississippi company that had a monopoly in France's Louisiana territory. John sold Louisiana to investors as a place loaded with gold, the most fertile soil, and boundless resources that was going to make everybody rich beyond their wildest dreams. The French people were running around trying to buy as many shares as they could, which caused the stock price to go up 20 times in just over a year. And in today's dollars, the company is worth $6.5 trillion, which is the value of all these companies combined. With the stock price going bananas, people quickly went from rags to riches, and is where the word millionaire originated from. Now, many of the new millionaires' wealth was short-lived, as Louisiana wasn't as promised, as it was actually a swamp. With the Mississippi stock price in freefall and the printing of money finally catching up, France's economy was massively damaged. Fast forwarding to the 21st century, central banks around the world strictly regulate monetary policy. We saw an example of this after COVID as they increased interest rates to bring down inflation. The Bank of Canada has a governing council and a board of directors and isn't controlled by one guy in a kilt that's also telling everyone to invest in his company.
And totally redeem yourself!
However, there have been cases around the world where countries have gotten carried away printing money. Venezuela printed money to cover debt caused by the falling price of oil in 2014. By 2017, Venezuela's economy collapsed, with annual inflation hitting 863%. Zimbabwe was really printing money, as in 2008, their inflation hit $80 billion a month. Every day prices were doubling. In the early 1800s, the United Kingdom was going tech crazy with the newest revolutionary invention, the steam train. Investors were blown away with what seemed to be endless possibilities. Trains could connect distant towns, delivering goods and people at rapid speed, and everybody wanted a piece of the action. With railroad tracks popping up everywhere and stock prices soaring, investors poured money into 900 different railroad companies. Anyone who would have said that trains were the future of transportation would have been correct, However, the stock prices were extremely inflated. And when profits weren't rolling in as expected, people ran to the exit, selling their shares at large losses. A third of the railways planned were never built, as many of the 900 companies collapsed. However, railway mania wasn't all bad, as with 10,000 kilometers of railway lines built, it helped support the Industrial Revolution. Also, tourism increased as well as people's health improved, as trains gave access to fresher and less expensive foods. The dot-com bubble of the 90s showed many of the same characteristics with the widespread adoption of the internet. Like the trains, it is undeniable that the internet has revolutionized our lives in many aspects, but it hasn't always been smooth sailings for investors. The same in both cases. Many investors got caught up in the hype of the numerous companies planning to benefit from the new technology. Evaluations skyrocketed with complete disregard to financials. Between 1995 and March 2000, the tech-heavy index NASDAQ rose by 800%. People were even quitting their jobs because they believed there's more money trading tech stocks.
I just tripled my productivity.
Investors cared less about company profits and more about if it had .com in its name. By October 2002, the NASDAQ fell 78% as many tech companies shut down, wiping out investors. There you have it. Next time you hear about easy money, keep some of these stories in mind. Feel free to reach out with any financial questions. See you next time.